Hello, everybody. I am Maroon Mikhailis.
I don't wanna love you now if you just leave someday. I don't wanna turn around if you just walk away. Maybe you and me got lost somewhere. We can't move on, we can't stay here. Or maybe we've just had enough. Well, maybe we ain't meant for this love. You and me tried everything, but still that mockingbird won't sing. Oh man, this life seems hard enough. Well, maybe we ain't meant for this love.
And as you can see from my tweets, as soon as I released my political compass and defended Tim Cast, 10 feminist progressive accounts of unfollowed me. It's still true, the tolerant left still can't handle different opinions, and you wonder why people say that Trump's gonna win 2020. Now, when it comes to these people and myself, we never really argued, we never really fought. We got along for the most part very perfectly. We never even with some of them that unfollowed me, with some of them we never even so much as disagreed. Or at least they never came up to me and say, hey, I disagree with you on this. It's just that I defended Tim Pool or like Tim Cast. People were calling him a fascist or a far right or a right winger. And what I did was I came to his defense. I'm like, no, he's censor left. He states that he's censor left in his videos. He makes it clear that he disagrees with Ben Shapiro. He makes it perfectly clear that he disagrees with Ben Shapiro. And not only that, but I mean, when it comes to rational disconnects and Ben Shapiro, he didn't treat them any differently. When it comes to rational disconnects, he asked for statements. He couldn't get rational disconnects, disconnect. He was like, I need a few days or whatnot. So Temple made a video anyway. He reached out to Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro couldn't be reached for comments, so he made a video anyway. But people still insist that Tim Pool is far left, which I just think is divisive and it alienates people. And so, like, just by defending Tim Pool, like, I mean, because it was like exclusively leftist. I mean, when I looked to see who unfollowed me, when it comes to when I checked to see who was following me, it has been exclusively people from the left. Nobody from the center unfollowed me. Nobody from the rights unfollowed me. It was all people on the left who unfollowed me and wanted nothing to do with me anymore. And again, with some of them, I thought we were getting along perfectly. I presume that because me and Rancing Feminist are friends, and me and Christiosity are friends, I think that the left mistaken me for one of them. And because they don't like, oh, well, you're friends with Rancing Feminist and Christiosity, you must be to the left. I think that there was probably some sort of confusion, even though like my positions are in my Twitter bio. That's or they really, really hate it when people disagree with them. Now, when I talk to people, everybody seems to like the rinsing feminist, and people generally, I mean, some people hate David Sherratt, but some people actually really like David Sherratt. And when it comes to the rinsing feminist, I mean, she's the feminist that everybody loves. I mean, everybody loves the rinsing feminist. I mean, I have spoken to so many anti-feminists. I've spoken to so many anti-feminists who think that the rinsing feminist is awesome. And the reason why is because she is not going to end a friendship over political disagreements. And before I continue, Christiosity also doesn't end friendships over disagreements. Christiosity and I have been friends for 2 years, like she has always been by my side. She's a very good friend. Now, the Direct Feminist presented an interesting idea where she talked about befriending the other side so that they could be exposed to left wing viewpoints. And that is actually very clever. When I got to participate in an SJW hangout once, I mostly just sat back and listened. I didn't really have any inputs. But when I participated in an SJW Hangouts, there was a person, I believe her name was Lady Columbia. She also presented an idea of, befriending the other side so that they could be exposed to left-wing viewpoints. It's actually very clever, but people aren't going to change their mind overnight. They're not going to change their minds, like it's not they're going to hear your idea and change their mind. Also, you got to be good at, arguing your ideas. And you can't, end friendships over the very first sign of conflict. I mean, I used to be like to the left. I wasn't even to the center left. I wasn't even to the far left either. I was like to the mid left, like I wasn't far left. I wasn't, center left. I was just in the left, middle left. And like I gradually just moved further and further and further to the right. But that took, I mean, in total, that took about 4 years. That took about 4 years in total. It just doesn't happen overnight. And it's like if you're going to end a friendship, over disagreements, like and Right Feminist gets this a lot too. She gets this from Christy Winters. She gets it from the far left where they don't like it that she and Sean Head are friends. And because people hate that she and Sean Head are friends, she has so many people telling her to end her friendship with Sean Head. Like every single day, I don't know, perhaps every single hour people are constantly tell her to stop being friends with Shoehead. He hates that she's friends with Shoehead. But Ransom Feminist says, well, if she ends her friendship with Shoehead, because Shoehead is friends with Lawrence Sutter, wouldn't that make Shoehead go to the further right as opposed to moving her further to the left? It's like if you end your friendship with somebody, they're going to move to the further right. They're not going to stick to the left because it's like who on earth would want to be friends with a person who would end their friendship at a moment's notice just because they hang around other people that they don't like? I mean, people actually have feelings. People don't want to be around somebody who's just going to end a friendship at a moment's notice. Like nobody's going to want to be like a person who would end a friendship at the drop of a hat. Like it makes the right seem like more decent people in comparison. Like the ranting feminist is my friend, and I would share her contents around because I like her as a person. And none of the people at the rights dropped me in the second I shared contents by her. It's like, because of our friendship, I'm like, oh, okay, we're friends, and I like you, and I want to be a good friend. I will share her contents around. Nobody in the rights, nobody in the rights just drop like in a drop of a hat. Like, it's you shared content, spider ranting feminist. I want nothing to do with you. I hate you. Gets out of my life forever. We're through. We're finished. And yet, I would experience the things in reverse where the left likes me, because I think that they presume that I'm one of them, or maybe it's because I don't know why they followed me in the first place, because it's kind of like I showed my political compass too. And this political compass placed me as very conservative, and yet they just didn't want anything to do to me anymore. But that makes you a terrible human being because it's kind of like it sends me a message that you never ever liked me to begin with. At no points of time had you ever really liked me. And if you never ever really liked me, it's like, why did you follow me in the first place if you at no points really like me? Because it's kind of like the anxiety atheists feel about Christians, where atheists get frustrated with Christians because it's like, oh, well, my parents would kick me out if they find out I'm an atheist. Like, wow, how crappy do you have to be if you're going to kick your child out when you learn that they're atheists? Or it's kind of like how gay people feel about Christians when they want to, kick their gay children out just for being gay. It's like, wow, how could you? Like, how could you? Like, because people take, these interpersonal relationships seriously. And it's kind of like, being friends with, a feminist isn't easy at all, because I actually had to defend, Christianity for 8 hours. I actually spent 8 hours defending Christianity for being my friend. It's not easy at all from my end either. But yet, we're still hanging on. But at the exact same time, it's kind of like if you're going to end a friendship or whatever, because of a disagreement, then it means that you never ever really liked the person to begin with. It just makes you a narcissist and it makes you a very shit human being because I have never ever ended a single relationship based on the person disagrees with me because when it comes to disagreements, I don't really care. And I don't know how people could get that far in life. Like, how do you get in so far in life if you're just going to enter one relationship after another if the person disagrees with you or says anything you don't like? That is incredibly narcissistic. And it's also why this is why I think that, people are going to just vote, Trump. It's because it's kind of like there's still such a shitty behavior from the left. Not only is it shitty from CNN, shitty from, how Twitter behaves and how YouTube behaves, but it's shitty by how some of the shits people on the left behave. It's kind of a lot like nobody wants to deal with that. No, because it's kind of like if you watch early anti-feminist content, and if you watch the early stuff like the 2014 stuff, the 2015 stuff. My feminist friends don't want to be my friend anymore because I have right wing friends who are spreading like wildfire. Or, my feminist friends didn't want to be friends with me anymore because I disagree with them. And it's like this type of content spread it like wildfire. It would get like so many views, so many likes. It's like, yeah, I dealt with that where like a feminist just dropped me like that. Like they didn't want anything to do with me anymore. Like they just ended things in a second. And it would be like girlfriends too. It would be girlfriends. It would be like their wives. It's kind of like the moment they disagreed, they just want nothing to do with them anymore and just would cut people that disagree with them completely out of their life. So, but for me, I'm kind of used to fair weather people, so I don't give fair weather people much of a thought. But it's kind of a lot like in comparison to a person on the right who is going to be your friend no matter what, where they are always your friend, they will probably argue with you, they would probably fight with you, but they would always constantly be there for you. It just makes people on the right seem like far better people in comparison because you could always discuss your differences, but keep them in your life. Whereas with the other person, it's kind of like goodbye forever because you said something that they didn't like. And people do take these interpersonal relationships seriously. And if you act like this over the internet, I think you also act this way in real life too. Because I mean, how I am on the internet is pretty much how I am in real life. There isn't really much of a difference between my online behavior and in my real life behavior, I'm pretty much the same person. So I would presume that in real life, you would probably also just be a lot like, oh, you're friends with, a Trump supporter. I don't want anything to do with you. Or you voted for Trump. Well, I want nothing to do with you. Or, and again, there are people in the anti-feminist community who had a girlfriend that just dumped them at a drop of a hat because they voted for Donald Trump or because they had a right wing opinion and they were just left behind. So if that's gonna how you treat people with a rights leaning opinion or whatnot, like how Christians treated the gays or how like Christians treated atheists, if that's how you're gonna behave, then all you're gonna do is you're going to alienate people. It's kind of like how I was arguing with a person on Twitter that went around calling black people white supremacists, where they were like, yeah, you can be a black white supremacist. And they kept arguing it. And they're just being so divisive and they are just alienating people. And it's like, what I like to say is that I never left the left. I didn't leave the left. The left left me. This has been Renee Michaelis. That's all I have to say. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Can't play